this is like the one time where I'm like, oh, the party's split and we're gonna do a bunch of stuff. So that is in fact what we're here to do, is to split the party and hopefully not die. I have no intentions of murking you all, unless
It didn't go well for us last time.
Well, second time's a charm.
Didn't go well for us last time.
Second time's a
That's
charm.
that's third time's the charm.
That doesn't help me. It doesn't. That doesn't make me feel better, Matty.
Oh no! But the calming sounds of the ocean, and we have, you know, the deck of a ship. It's it's summertime. In fact, we can even, for a wonderful fun alternative here, you can even be below decks. And look at this.
Oh, it's animated.
Hey, how about that? And if you don't want to be, you know, below decks when you're talking or plotting or making things, and you got that little mouse that's running around, you can be above on the deck of the ship too. And it's a beautiful summer night out.
Where in the world did you get those assets?
Yes. I was doing some searches and they came up. It was just some Google searches.
I was gonna say one of them looked really familiar.
So I'm gonna need to up my game.
There are you can upload them as either GIFs or GIFs. I guess it's your choice, but you have to.
It's gifts.
I would say GIF to the face of God and then walk backwards into hell.
Interestingly enough, though, they loaded as WebMs. At least that's what they're showing up as in the library. Yeah. But
no, to keep the animation, they'll actually convert it to a WebM, and
well,
it's more friendly. It's more friendly
to most browsers.
Okay.
Yeah, and to processing power. It also works for mobile.
Hey. Then yeah, if it saves processing power, because man, I have too many locations open, and they all have autoplay music, and it just starts skipping, and even though they're not playing, and it gets all kind of wonky. But anyway, so yeah, hey, we have you're on a boat. You're on a boat, and you have been sailing. I know we're just kind of jumping right into this here. You've been sailing south from the Dragon's Graveyard, and you're going to head over here, and eventually you're going to head over here, and then you're going to head over here, and possibly end up at this port city. And then from there, well, I don't know, we'll see. But first things first, you have at least a week. Pardon me. You have at least a week of cruise time as you are taking the southern route down yonder. And you all were thinking about things that you'd like to explore, to do. As I guess the good within the bad, the professor was able to get tickets, though they were very expensive ones. The good in that, while it did eat into party funds, is that you are staying on a very venerable ship that everyone in Mesotopia knows. In fact, I'd even be willing to wager that that even the Shadowheart know of this ship, and its history. You're staying aboard the first class section, and so you're able to rub elbows with other well-to-do people who might have information or wealth or whatever's to share or bargain, or you can gamble and carouse. So yeah, the ship has some unique features, a very unique tiefling captain, probably an even more unique chef in the galley, and all kinds of people. And you know what? If you don't want to be with the upper crust in first class, you can go down to steerage, where there are a lot of people who use it to travel. In fact, if any of you out there in the audience had been around since the beginning, that is where this campaign had opened up. Was in the economy class. We'll put it very lightly. The economy class tickets aboard the ship, as the players at the time were making their way to Mesomasca, either
Celine
back or
delivered
from...
a baby.
Yeah, and she delivered a baby. Yep, and we have cat butt also. Hi. Yeah.
My cat is currently lying on the couch, looking completely serene, which is very much unlike her.
As is my cat.
Now, while you are sailing south and east, meanwhile, back in Mesotopia itself, we had Jaiden, who had returned from Green Shield here to Mask of Horns here, this northern large port city, and was doing some investigating around town. And as an outstanding bit of business, you still have 3 lore bombs that I can drop on you, Derek. Through Jaiden or through Derek, we can find ways to, make sure the information will get to you. Though, because of your investigation and interaction, and as a result of the accumulative efforts between you and Miss Quum, she was able to get some good information to give to you. And if you wish, because you did get the maximum result of 3 on that as well, there was an outstanding investigation that you had initially started, where a criminal had broken in and stolen some valuable armor from a friend of your father's. He ended up saving up for and kind of wore when he was a young officer on patrol. And while the investigation itself, if only through its inconclusion, meant that it ended up in probably some expert hands, if you wish to redeem one of your 3 lore bombs for information regarding that stolen item, then you may do so as well. So what I'm going to do is for you to give you a bit of time to decide what you want to ask or explore. For Jaiden, we're going to let you continue to hit the streets of Mask of Horns, and I'm going to go and we're going to do a week of downtime with the others aboard the ship, and then we're going to flash back to you. Meanwhile, the barring anything that happens, because that's always, as a DM, I think I'm contractually obligated to always throw in those statements. Barring anything else that happens, because things like piracy have been, known to occur, especially now that there's a lot of money flowing around and items. At the same time, there's also many Shadowhar ships that have been patrolling the area, and in their own way, even suppressing the pirates, which is earning the good graces of various merchants, because actually now it's safer, because the Shadowhar have not opened fire or have not confiscated ships, though they are on the patrol almost in a privateer fashion for those who might do their ships harm, let alone are stealing from other people. So unless the volcano blows up while you're going by it, you have a naval confrontation, or I don't know, a sea monster attacks or something. You are going to have approximately a week, maybe a little bit more or less, but we can plan for a week for the things that you would like to accomplish in this downtime. You are aboard a ship. If it comes down to it, there are various options such as gambling, such as carousing. You can, honestly, you can relax, and if you choose to relax, what I did for Jaiden on the barge was it gave you advantage on something you want to do next, because you're just able to clear your mind. You may be able to do some research, and if you want to go down to steerage, because this is a large ship, you could probably even fight someone and get a little money or reputation that way, if you want to go down and have a little boxing match with some of the feistier folks. And if there's other things that you have in mind, let me know. While I do have the DMG and Xanathars open, which both address downtime activities, ultimately this is our story and your characters, and I want you to tell me what you would like to do in these circumstances in this time. And if I have to make up rules, I'll make up rules. Or if I have to bend them in the downtime activities, then we'll do so. But we'll use those sources as a guideline. So let's begin with our travels on Lellywellen's Gamble here. We'll zoom out a bit. So we have Mordecai, who's been of the two people who have, like, I guess, a direct line or a wish to do things. Bright being the other. I mean, you are certainly you're the leader here, as Casimir's been backing you up in various ways, and of course the professor's along for the ride as well and is seeing what's happening and is in his own way offering some help here and there as he can as an individual, or possibly by writing things off as a research expense, or is able to use that academic background to maybe at least loosen the pickle jar a little bit. So, Mordecai, what would you like to do in this presumed week of smooth and steady sailing?
The things I had been wanting to really do were to study more of the notes that Stelline had left in her journal, and just kind of toy with the idea of crafting something.
Okay.
I don't know what you would allow me to do, but
Well,
he's never crafted before, so he'd want to do something like that.
for crafting, there would be, if you spoke to the, I guess to the engineer or the bosun of the ship, you might be able to have access to like a kind of a little carpentry area, a workbench. There's not going to be anything like a forge.
No, not something like that. More like an enchantment.
But if we're talking about maybe manipulating magic or moving enchantments, or I guess playing around with things that are already made, but you're trying to modify the magic on them, arguably you could do that anywhere. That being said, if you're going to play with fire, you might not want to, do it close to the kindling. Not that there has been known to be any sort of wild magic effects that take place out here on the sea. But hey, things happen, especially if you're experimenting. And this would be even something from... I mean, I say your earlier tinkering days, but honestly, for Mordecai, it wasn't that long ago you were with the circus, and you were, you had the wagon, and the you were able to tinker with your mentor and all that. So, I mean, there's still fresh lessons enough to you that, okay, I want to make sure there's an area, and, whatever basic tinkering safety procedures is instilled in you. So I'm not going to presume that you're going to do something... Like, you would have to tell me you're going out of your way to do something dumb. Like, oh, we're in the middle of a storm and I got to refill all the lamps aboard the ship. I'm going to stand over the hemp ropes. And then, yeah, so you're going to have to really go out of your way to do that. Then, with those as your goals... I suppose we'll see how many of those in this first block of time that you have that can be accomplished, depending on perhaps the help of others in your understanding of magic or in your adaptation or reading of the book. And for either of those, of course, there's Bright, who is both skilled in calligraphy and magic. So she knows about books. She's read a couple. She even has a favorite one she carries on her person at all times. She knows magic and maybe even about items and trinkets and little things. Of course, you have Professor Cypher, who is a historian, is mechanically an out of character. We don't really know. He's not like he hasn't summoned storm clouds from the sky or boiled the seas or I don't know, even like done a little like a shocking grasp or anything, but he is an educated person. And you also have Casimir. Casimir is kind of like a jack of all trades. He's your wingman. He's got your back if you need something done. Casimir is right behind you, all the way.
I will take any help that I can get.
Then, Casimir, you know that Mordecai would like to accomplish some tinkering, as well as some reading, some study of this book, which does have magical properties, maybe medical properties. It's Selene, so it's kind of weird. It has this face of Ouijas on it. You know, how would you like to assist with your particular set of skills?
I'd probably be better off helping with the tinkering side of things.
Okay, and now, without getting into the details of, like, how do we, like, pick the enchantment up and put it down and do this, with the tinkering, you would be supporting Mordecai by doing what?
Depends on what he's trying to make.
Really just taking either his violin or his pan flute and trying to work something out of it and try and make it have something magical happen as a result. He's never done that before, and it could explode in his face.
Well, not too sure if I have the skills for magic, but if it explodes, I can help you.
If you need it to explode, I can help you with that too.
Well, it would be nice if it didn't.
Oh, that's the opposite of what I was thinking. Okay.
Unless you want it to shoot something that explodes. Because there's that possibility, right? I don't know what magic can do. I've never really tinkered with magical items. I've always had a dream to do so. But I've never
Exploding is
actually
definitely
done
one of the things it can do. So, I think you're in luck.
You're kind of a master of fireballs, so...
I mean, people say that, but
You have
No,
other
I think-
skills. You do have other skills.
it's true.
Just have it do something. Anything, really. I'm kind of toying with it.
Then, Professor, would you... Now, not that you must help Mordecai. If you have a particular goal yourself, like if you want to, I don't know, watch the movement of the seagulls or study the patterns of the clouds or, you know, or as you're passing by the volcano to, you know, to watch it, you may. What would you like to do in this instance? And, of course, you can't help Mordecai, but you are your own person.
I'll give the young.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, can you repeat that? You cut out.
I'll give the young lad some assistance.
Okay. And this
Wait.
is with the tinkering portion, or is this about the study of this text?
It'll be the text because that's where he'll be more helpful.
Okay. Well, it's a good thing Mordecai doesn't have to sleep because you can do a whole lot more when you don't have to, you know, have, you know, 6-8 hours, preferably. Yeah. Preferably.
Unless I get exhausted. I don't know that I'm going to get exhausted, am I?
Well, not offhand, with the exception of you are going to have to feed at some point because
Yes.
you haven't lately, and things got tense. When I absolutely loved what we did last session in regards with Jaiden and her father. However, there may very in another world that is running the Tuesday game, Jaiden doesn't have a daddy no mo. Because Mordecai ate him. So that got really scary. So you're gonna have to find some sustenance some way, and it's not exactly like there's a live cow aboard the ship that you can subtly relieve of some some sips. I mean, maybe if there was if you caught a bunch of fish and a little bit at a time, if you wanted it to go that route, or if you found a willing donor and I mean, Bright is already infected, so she's not going to get any less infected.
She's the only one who really knows.
And Mordecai, I will offer you this because I believe also as a dungeon master I'm contractually obligated to always dangle a carrot in front of you. As you have discovered in your vampirism, as you have taken on properties of those from whom you drink,
Yes.
you are seeking to delve into the arcane, to do a little magical tinkering, a little spellcrafting, and so perhaps a sip of a little spellcrafter might be able to help you in that regard.
I'll propose the idea.
Bright, Mordecai proposes to you in front of everyone aboard the ship.
Make a night of it.
You know, I always thought this day would be more special. Okay, so I have a bunch of questions. First,
Yes.
can I take new portents and spells, seeing as time is passing?
I think we ended with this beginning, and so for every sort of chunk you can take a new portent, we said.
Okay, so I'm gonna need to do that. Let me do that real quick.
Okay, yeah, that's before I say yes or no, let me consult let me consult the
Before I
alternate
say
realities.
yes or no, let me peek into the future for just a minute. So it seems like it's probably gonna be okay.
Okay.
So, I mean, how much do you need? Because I'm little and I don't have all that much.
Yeah, you're very small. I couldn't say. I have nearly, it's tough. A normal sized person, it doesn't take a whole lot. But if I did the same to you, that's concerning.
Yeah, I'm more concerning for me. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I don't want to hurt you.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, we definitely don't want an oopsie doodle.
No.
Yeah. Definitely no oopsie doodles. Okay, so
It's just getting a little tense.
so I mean, what if you turn pink?
That's not a terrible thing.
I don't think so, but I mean,
I don't think so either. I mean, pink is a good color.
okay, well, I think that's good. Okay, so
Just a bit. I don't want to.
and I mean, I don't want to wait too long because, like, the
Right.
the hungrier you get, the harder it is for you to control your.
Yeah. That's true.
So, so I maybe you can do it in a place where it won't leave more of a scar, because I already have a little nick on my neck from when I got bit before.
Right. Okay. Cool. Let's do that.
Okay, okay. Let me Can I yes.
I mean, the last time I did so was just taking some from your hand.
Yeah, we can do that, but
You could probably offer like the back of your hand. You got some straws in you.
yeah, I mean, but won't that really itch as it gets better?
Oh.
I think that'll itch. I don't want to scratch my hand all the time. I might cast a spell.
You might
on
actually.
somebody.
You might accidentally cast fireball. Okay.
Oh, that's the somatic component for fireball. Oops.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I guess we can do that if we have to.
Yeah, because there's not a lot of anything fresh, and I don't really want to just do that to someone random.
Yeah, that's probably not a good idea. Okay. Well, we should probably go someplace quiet.
You do
I
have
don't want
that
people
nice.
asking weird questions.
You do have your nice cabin that you can close the door. Although if you want it to be a little bit more, I don't know, momentous, you can always like open up the shutters and you can look out over the sea to distract yourself, or you could close it all up and be all clandestine. But you do have a quiet, private place that, unless you're making too much noise, and over the course of time, obviously you're on a ship. There's noises from all sorts of people doing all sorts of things, but you have a private area that you can at least go to.
I'm not planning on making too much noise.
Okay.
Me either.
Mordecai is an expert by now, hopefully. So Mordecai, let's go ahead and to prep you for the week to come. You're going to take a careful draw from Bright. Go ahead and make your con save.
Oh, no. He's gonna roll a 19.
Oh, okay.
With a +1, that makes it 20.
Oh, all right then. So, all right. So yeah, you're the moment happens, and Bright, you're very you're very sure to keep control of the situation here. Mordecai, this actually turns into a very pleasant experience. Not only is it a willing donor, Bright's blood has always just had this. How are we describing it? Almost like a strawberry taste, I think.
Strawberries.
And so she's just a very pleasant, very sweet. Though there is this, there's this something in her blood. It's almost like pop rocks. Like it's like a little tingly. Like there's an energy to it as well. So maybe it's I don't know. Maybe it's kind of like drinking like a Monster Ultra or something. Like it's really sweet. Although no, hang on. I think we were talking about gnomes actually are about real sugar. So she might not have saccharin or sucralose, but it's very sweet and full of energy here. And so let's see. You are going to be taking on some physical properties of Bright, as well. We'll give you some arcane manipulations as well. Let's go with. How can we make this fun and a little thematic? If we go with a. Is my pen in the other room? Okay, that's fine. I'll write it down.
Hair goes pink.
Yeah, well, we have, so we'll have pink hair. We'll have, this one. We'll have, oh. Or we'll go with the all right. I need you to roll a d4 in chat, and we're going to find out which property of Bright you're going to be inheriting.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Got a 2. Oh, Mordecai. Mordecai, you're going to lose some height.
Oh no. How short do I go?
And so, Mordecai, well, I guess I guess we can kind of average out the two of you.
He has to be below 5'11".
I'm 6 foot tall right now.
You're 6 foot, and Bright is how?
3.
Yeah, less than 6 feet for sure.
All right. Well, this is gonna be easy then. That'll be what, like 4.5 feet?
No, 3'4".
Oh, okay.
3'4".
So you're a little over. All right. So, Mordecai, you're Chibi Kai right now. Your body kind of shrinks down. You're taller than Bright. So you know what? I guess maybe the drink that you took not only changed you, but you feel a little bit more full. You have less of a body to worry about. However, you probably look like maybe like a 10-year-old version of yourself or something, like your kid Mordecai.
Wow. Oh. What? Okay. I look like a child.
Yeah. Either that or I don't know. It sounds kind of bad. It's like I'm the Mordecai Kid, like some old Western bandit or something. But yeah, so you're you're a little over 4.5 feet tall, with your proportions, as as they would be. So yeah, the feeding process is over. It goes really well. You actually feel fuller than you expected, but when you open your eyes and withdraw your fangs, in addition to the arcane properties you've inherited from Bright, well, the world's a different place.
And when I stand straight up, I realize I am not nearly as tall. I'm not twice as tall as her anymore.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so,
Oh, that's weird.
so you're gonna need to get used to some things. You're gonna need stools all of the time.
Oh
And
my.
it's never gonna be comfortable to sit in anyone's chair. Your feet are never gonna reach the ground. And you're always gonna have to ask people to get things off of high shelves for you until you learn how to cast Mage Hand. So,
That's one I don't know.
well, so that's a bummer for you then, isn't it? So, yeah, there's going to be a little bit of an adjustment for that. You probably should have turned pink. That wouldn't have been so much of an inconvenience, but you'll get used to it.
Yeah. Oh, this is gonna be weird. How am I gonna work at tables? That was the whole point. Okay. Well, I'll adjust. I don't know how long this is gonna last.
You could always go around the ship solving murder mysteries.
I mean, probably until you have a drink from someone else.
Probably. Oh boy. All right. Cool. I'm only a little bit taller than you.
Yeah, a little taller. Sated. You're feeling. You got some energy, from Bright here, and all right. So you have. It seems that you have the professor and Casimir willing to help you now. Bright, beyond this initial interaction, did you wish to assist Mordecai, or is there something else that you wanted to do or study?
Oh, I have all kinds of things to do.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's really just a question of how much time I have.
You have a week until you reach port, so I guess that would be in Bright's consideration. Without the meta, you might learn more at the port, or if the world has changed and you're learning from things there, that could redirect your decisions. But at least here on the boat, without hearing a sending, without getting a sending from Jaiden, or from anyone else, you have a week of I can relax. I can be on the sun deck. I can watch the volcano. I can just I don't know. You could talk to the seagulls. There's all kinds of stuff.
Seagulls aren't really all that nice. I don't really want to talk to them unless I have to. No, I have lots of things I want to do. So the main thing that I want to do, well, first of all, we talked last week or 2 weeks ago about the spell that I would get from Celine's book.
Yes.
So I definitely want to get that done at some point during the overall downtime scenario. And then are you going to charge me ink for that? Because
No.
Okay, good. Then the next thing is, right, I want to make friends with the skeleton man because I have a whole bunch of questions for him. Like how long he's been around and why he doesn't cause wild research problems and anything he can tell me about what it's like to be him and where he came from. And then I also would, we're stopping in Uct, right?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So when we stop in Uct, I want to make sure that I get news. I might even go ashore if I have to. Try and find out the gnome situation. In terms of, the whole genocide thing, I'm not really happy about.
Yeah.
So I really want to find out more about that. So, and then if there's more time on top of that, I might want to, and this is probably more of a stretch goal, but I might want to, for the contingency spell, I'm going to need a statue. And so I want to see if there's a way I can make some progress toward that. But that's the least important.
All right. And then for interacting with the skeleton, do you have like beyond, I guess, trying to address it through speech? Do you have a particular spell or a magical way to interact with a skeleton that presumably can't talk?
Well, I didn't know if the skeleton could talk or not, but I can test.
He was not communicative the last time you were aboard a ship.
Okay, well, I do have sending, and I can cast sending if I need to, up to up to 10 times per day. Actually, 11 times per day. So, if it comes down to that.
Okay. I think I have something in mind.
All my high-level spells for sending if I don't have to, but, you know. Plus, I mean, he's probably pretty lonely, so maybe being able to talk to someone would be nice for him.
So then, all right. I'm going to resolve Mordecai first.
Okay.
And then,
and also we
go
can
ahead.
maybe communicate through writing. I mean, I could tell him things, and then he could write his responses.
Okay. Then,
It's another option.
partially, not completely, partially dependent on Mordecai's successes or failures. That can have an effect on what you're doing. What you're doing isn't completely reliant on Mordecai, so if he crashes and burns, it's not going to take your options off the table. But you are in a position to perhaps be even better off if Mordecai is also successful in this case. But you're going to be like on your own doing these things while the others are helping Mordecai.
Okay, so I won't be able to actually directly assist Mordecai then.
Correct. You're both indirectly helping each other.
Okay.
All right.
He's helping me by doing his thing, and I'm helping him by making him not starve.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so in that, I guess you're directly by your blood helping him, but yeah. All right.
Okay.
So Mordecai, you are going to. You have a week, but honestly, you get 24 hours every day of this week, or thereabouts, to study and whatnot. Because Casimir can help you. You know, Casimir has a weird sleeping schedule as well, just as per Elf. And the professor, is probably used to keeping odd hours, or can, rest it during the day or rest at night whenever, however you're balancing this out. So let's go ahead and... let's go with... crafting a magic item. Now, while there are some extra rules about like spending more money and whatnot, that's in a in Xanathar's, that's presuming that you're in a city, or that you have informants, or that you're living expenses while you're trying to track down or wait for an order to come into a magic store, things like that. If you want to pay for do you want it delivered to the magic store first class? Do you want to pay for priority? Or do you want, like, setting express mail?
We've also paid 700 gold for this trip. We might as well have the amenities.
You do... Well, yeah, what I'm saying is that I'm not worried about, while I am using Xanathar's as a reference, I'm not worried about the exact minutia of what it says might go into or give bonuses, because we've set our own context for it. So let's go with you need a formula for a magic item in order to create it. The formula is like a recipe. You have been consulting with Casimir, and Casimir will help you as best as he can. And of course, Casimir, you do have particular skills. You are able to harness magical power, although yours is different than how Mordecai harnesses his. Oh, and Refry, thank you very much for the re-up on that. Oh, actually, that's power level coming in here, giving out a gift. Oh, power level, thank you so much, and welcome to you as well. So Casimir, you're as a ranger, you tend to have more natural spells, things for movement, things for combat. Did you take anything for did you take things like, I don't know, spike growth or like things that manipulate plants at all too?
I have spike growth and plant growth.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, spike growth and plant.
All right, then. And we're also given the location. Let's do this. Mordecai has proficiency in tinker tools. Casimir, you have proficiency in smith tools, and what else?
Just smith tools.
Just smith? Okay. And Mordecai, did you have anything other than tinker's tools as well?
On my person? I have lots of things on my person.
Well, just your proficiency in tools.
Tools, just tinkering tools.
Okay. All right, no problem.
And disguise kits.
Ah, okay.
That probably isn't helpful, but whatever.
Okay, so you have time, you have help, you have the resources, magical and otherwise, especially being braced by Bright, and even getting this other, I guess, philosophy. You know, because Casimir, certainly when you were at your peak low time, you know, Casimir was sharing some words of wisdom with you, and you know, was trying to offer you a different perspective, a different way to measure the events that were happening. And so, as Casimir is here, this doesn't exactly have to be the scene from Ghost where Casimir is behind you with his hands around as you're making some beautiful pottery. But you know,
Well, it could be.
It could be. I won't disclude it. Oh, love it. So cute.
He's such a baby.
Yeah.
He's so stupid. He lost like 2 feet.
Oh, that's true. All your clothes are kind of like, you know, like, oh, I'm wearing
Super baggy.
Yeah, I'm wearing Dad's clothes.
Dad's clothes.
You're clomping around in the shoes, and your sleeves are kind of flapping. Oh gosh.
Not excited about this way my clothes don't fit.
Somehow, stereotypically, you're missing like that one front tooth that makes you look a little scrappy and mischievous. No, you don't have to. Oh goodness. All right, so
Child.
so Casimir, as you're trying to explain this philosophy of growth, this imbuing of magic into natural items. You know, rangers aren't opposed to metal. You know, druids have more of a taboo against that traditionally. Though you're used to manipulating plant material, and Mordecai does have a violin. It is made of wood. And so you, in your own way, would be able to perhaps use that. While you have proficiency with smith's tools, and I know that we also flavored it like you're good at your smith's tools for tacking together the hard exteriors of the desert creatures, particularly the sand dogs, you know, to represent steel plates and such. But in this instance, we have... You want to weave magic into the wood. So it's not just a piece of metal with some magic shine on it, like a coat of paint. You know, you're trying to talk about, you know, planting the magic inside the item to cause it to grow and to offer a constant effect and not just be a one and done, or to burn out, or even to just be like a lantern that consumes its fuel. Instead, Casimir, you know, it's more the cycle of life, and the tree just continues to draw nourishment and continues to provide these effects. And so I will ask you, Casimir, given this prompt from your DM, is there a skill that you think would be appropriate to route this kind of explanation, this either encouragement, this knowledge, or this like instruction, that to get it across into Mordecai about how you practice magic and how you weave your will into the world?
Perhaps through nature.
Through nature? Okay. So sure, go ahead and make a nature check first.
I'll throw a bardic inspiration on that.
All right. Well, Casimir, you're probably going to want to use that.
It's a
Are
D10.
you at D10s? Yeah. Ooh. All right.
Wow.
So Casimir.
There's all this magic stuff.
Yeah. So
You
you
don't
know
need
you
it.
know trees. Trees grow. Okay, now I want you to think of a tree. I believe in you. Go.
We don't have trees in us. We have cactus.
Oh, that's right. We have cacti. So now what I'd like you to do, Casimir, is one more thing, as we do have, we've discussed the concept, and now I want to talk about the flow and the transference of magic. You cast off of Wisdom as a ranger, and what I would like you to do is, effectively, I want you to make a spell attack off of your Wisdom. However, as you were having some trouble, maybe conveying the basics to Mordecai here. You are going to be making this attack, quote unquote, at disadvantage. And before this happens as well, let me see what is floating. Because I did carry over from last week here. Kitty Bird did give you a +1, Casimir. If you wish to use that.
I will go ahead.
You said you will use it. You cut out.
Yes.
Okay.
Just see. Wisdom spell attack.
It'd be Wisdom plus proficiency.
Yeah. So this is gonna be a +6. Just do this one. 19
Okay.
plus 6.
Oh, nice. All right, so Mordecai, in the end, the assistance, it's not a detriment, and certainly Casimir seems to be able, with these, with his magics, to perhaps make your instrument more open, more viable for magical research and transference, or to understand, the grain of wood. He has sort of infused your instrument with his magic. I can't explain, but let me show you here. So there's not going to be an inherent plus or minus here from Casimir, but you can then, with these lessons, you can then see what you'll end up with as you are going to try applying the information and use this medium of your violin in order to create something. And what I would like you to do, and you will actually be getting a boost from Bright's blood in this case, is to first make an Arcana, as we are talking about magic and the study and the application of it. And you might get a sparkly little whisper in your ear to help you out. 14 or...
Oh, I was at advantage?
Yeah, I had advantage. If I thought I said advantage. If I didn't, then that's my fault.
No, I was asking, and you never said. So,
Okay.
21.
All right. So a little voice in your head apparently says, carry the 2. And you're like, oh, I forgot to carry the 2. And unfortunately, that 2 gave you a 7. So that's a good return. So the lessons you feel are, okay, I think this is solid. I want to imbue it at this point. It seems ready. You are comfortable moving ahead, and so. One moment here. All right, now I need you, Mordecai. I would like you to make a spell attack as you are administering magic through yourself into your instrument.
All right. I have a spell attack set up for Guiding Bolt.
Okay. And this can, I'm sorry, this can also be done at advantage.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Nice. That's a 25.
Okay. With Casimir's help, you have Bright. Bright is indirectly helping you. You have your own will, and honestly, you even have Celine's influence in this mix. Like you've just become, a mixing bowl of all of these philosophies and all of these energies and everything that is just, I don't know, you're becoming a reflection of so many other aspects of life. The magics pull through you. You feel yourself. We don't need to worry about the mechanics of spell levels and all this, but you do feel these energies pulled through you, and you have this other sense for the taste of blood, especially when you cure people and do all this. But you're getting these different flavors of magic that are coursing through you, and are then now imbued into your violin. And what I would like you to do is, well, actually, first, Casimir, as you're here during this enchanting process, the trap has an animal inside of it now. However, you have to try and seal it in before it either breaks out and you have nothing, or it even, it breaks the trap, in which case now you don't have an animal or a trap for later. So, Casimir, with this as kind of a metaphor here, can you instruct Mordecai on how to seal in these magical energies which seem to flow or to be mysterious or to be hunted or corralled or trained like an animal?
If my page would open, yes. Okay.
If you're using a skill, you have another bardic inspiration.
This would be a skill. We've already used nature, so I'm going to take that one off the table.
Yeah. Well, the way you described it, could I use animal handling?
Sure. Yeah. That's how I can see Casimir partially understanding magic and its employment. Okay. Are you using the bardic as well?
Nah.
All right. We're floating it for. Okay. So Mordecai, Casimir is explaining this, and maybe because we're getting into more of these like primal terms, and we're talking about animal, and certainly you've been there. You felt that base necessity of not just fight or flight, but this desperate hunger that exists on a whole new level. It's really resounding with you, Mordecai. And so what I would like you to do is now in some other way than Arcana, which is what opened things up. I would like to ask for, how would you like to bring closure to this process? How would you like to use what was explained to you to Casimir through the creation process you understand from mundane trinkets? Which could be like, oh, I painted something. Now the last step is to seal it, to keep it from fading or whatever. How are you going to seal the magics inside your violin?
The last step is to perform with it.
Ah. Okay. Then, yep. Go ahead and make a performance at advantage, as Casimir has given you this strong kind of inspiration to play. Oh, nice. All right. So with another 22 here, you give a performance at some probably more towards the end of the journey here, because you've been having to sit and like you feel the energy, but you're trying to get it to transfer all that. This isn't day one stuff. You give a performance, and would you want to perform in public, or would you want to maybe experiment in your room where it might be more isolated and safe in case something happens?
More isolated where it's safe.
Gotcha.
We'll play with it later in public.
Sure. I will. Okay. Your song ends, and there is there is just a lightness in the air. There's just sort of a magical, not like wild magic. That's its own distinct feeling, but there's certainly something that is telling you that the sounds of your violin as it resounded through the cabin, you have imbued this thing with some kinds of magic. And from this point, because it was just this is like, it's baby's first magic item here, to explore what was drawn not even from you, but even through you, from all these different sources, to find out what is here. Though you do have a violin, and let's. I will provide some details about it, but we've effectively made an instrument of the bards. However, with the ones that have been predetermined, I don't know if I'm super happy with either of them on the fixed list that's provided in the DMG. And so what I can do is work with you to maybe put a couple spells in it. And as this is your item, and this was an item that was drawn from others through you, and so we can take a look at instruments of the bards and find a way to put a couple spells in there that are stored.
I don't think I've ever looked at that item. So
it'll be on 176 of the DMG. If you have yours handy.
It's a very interesting item. Kind
okay.
of
I'll look at it on my own time.
Yeah. I guess for a basic reference, they all have maybe 3-4 spells on them, and so I would, when we do this, to sit down for you to start thinking about it, let's put a Celine style spell into it, let's put a Mordecai spell, and let's put a Casimir spell into it, and then you did well enough in this that we can even consider a Bright style spell. Okay. Now none of them are super high level, so this would be first couple levels of stuff, but we'll sit down and talk about the minutia of it. But you have, in fact, maybe we can even say that when you play this instrument, depending on, there was motes of light that started swirling around you, and you had, little pink motes of light, little blue sparkles. I guess you had some like sand in the wind, like some little dusty like puffs. And then for Celine, you would have little, I guess, sort of like shimmering between like purple, yellow shapes as well, like maybe almost like little faces or skulls or something. It's just a manifestation in color. You all are the Chroma Company, but you had these effects that happened around you when you played this instrument, and so we can continue that sort of effect when you play. All right, so that was happening in your Casimir time. Now we also have Professor time when you're studying this book, and you are trying to learn about its secrets, its applications, and so this is going to be. You can approach this in two ways, and as a discussion between you, Mordecai, or the Professor. It's going to be 6 to 1, half dozen to the other. You can approach this as a religious text, in which case we'd we'd want to look at things through more of a religious lens, the understanding and application of faith, of belief, more philosophical. Or we can approach this more in terms of this as a research task, more of a scientific study that is more about the cold hard sciences of understanding the implication of magic or historical facts. Or if you look at the drawings, it is a drawing of a body. It's not necessarily to be a sacred shape or something like that. How, but ultimately, Mordecai, this is your study. The professor, I'm sure, can help either way, but do you want to go more of a religious route with this book, and take more of a faith-based approach, or do you want to take more of a scientific approach, more of a methodical to understanding the contents?
I'll just note, for me to help you on this one, make it not nature, and you're golden.
Oh, that's a tough one, because Mordecai has always tried to understand Celine's conviction of faith and where she came from in that regard, but also the science of it kind of appeals to him as a sort of magical scientist in training Lellywellen, so it could go either way.
I mean, could you do one and then the other? If you're doing a thorough study.
Well, I'm presuming that you're having these thoughts.
Yeah.
That you're wondering, but you will, as a mechanical and as a character development choice as well. How would you want to carry this forward as a part of you, but as a memory of Celine? Because Celine herself was on both sides of that line. I mean, she was both a person of faith and a person of science. And how she juggled that was, she was a very unique person. And so you need to find your way. And, but you're not Celine. So you got to find Mordecai's way. And in a sense, I'm not saying as you're in an out of character as a DM, if you go religious route, like you have to be religious from here on out, and you have to start wearing, the proper vestments, and immediately change your lifestyle. But either of these choices could be a springboard for more exploration and interaction, as the results of this, the results of this research either way, could bear fruit, or to give you a nice direction and supplement it with some various story elements or mechanics as well.
I think he'd want to approach it from a religious standpoint first and foremost. To try, because he kind of felt that conviction of faith when he drank from her back in the desert.
Okay.
And he wants to kind of understand that more. And so that's the route that he's going to go.
All right then. And so the professor, you have a proficiency then in everything but nature?
In terms of intelligence skills, everything but nature.
Gotcha. Ooh. Yeah, we are very learned. All right then.
I gave up the nature proficiency for perception instead because it would be better.
Now, as the professor, and so we're going to start with your support system here, Mordecai, because, we're going to see, if you're going to get help, are you actually getting help, or is something else going to occur here? So, Professor, as you are getting to look at this book, Mordecai is it is Mordecai's. I mean, I don't know if you want to lend it out or let the professor, hold it or flip through it or anything, Mordecai.
Keeping an eye on him while he's looking at it.
Okay, so you're not going to let him, take it out of the room without you looking or anything, right?
No, because
Okay.
it's fine.
Yeah. So, Professor, you get a little exposure to Celine, very interesting person. And, you're seeing diagrams in here that, do suggest, she was an academic. Although being a professor, there's some things in here that you could probably understand why she was exiled, or perhaps more with her theories, why didn't she land a job in the office or in a research field officially? As there's concepts here, they're not exactly, she's not preaching murderous revolution or anything, but there's an undertone to it that even in its own way perhaps resonates with you as a historian of the Shadowheart Empire. Because there are some approaches to death. There are some approaches to morality and philosophy of the body, of the soul, of the utility of the body, soul, or, any energies therein, the afterlife, which would not conform to the modern traditional values. And so, as you're researching through here, go ahead and make a... you can make a knowledge religion check. I keep calling it knowledge religion. I guess it's force of habit from when I first started playing. It's just religion in 5th ed. But
Religion.
Go ahead and make a religion check as you're trying to go through this and understand it. And while you do have time and there's no duress, the notes at times can be a little, difficult to read or to put together. And let me see, too. Kitty Bird also gave you a +1 from last week if you choose to use it.
I think I will.
Bardic Inspiration, too.
And a Bardic Inspiration?
Okay.
Okay. So let's roll it. Oof. So that's a 10 right now.
Okay.
Give me a 10.
Sorry, what? Give me one.
It's a 15.
Okay. So you think you have a solid handle on it. Maybe there is no big revelations, but in a sense, from the now and into the future, as this character of Celine is researched or explored or considered more, you're more comfortable with her. But so you're neither a detriment nor are you, you're not revealing like here's the cipher to the code, and and you're like your eyes kind of like good. You get a nosebleed as you're like, don't stop, just. For hours, just like I don't care. I put a tube in my neck. I can't get up. The code is right here, and you're going through this. Though there's good information. A few more
hours to do that.
There's good information in here, and you're confident that you can help. And we'll see what's there, because it is. I mean, it has scribbles. It's not like it's covered front to back, filled with notes. There's some sketches, some things here and there from when Celine did have some time to make notes and do some reflections. So when we have, oh, there we go. We have Mordecai.
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. Do what you gotta do.
IRL interruptions. They're lovely.
What I would like you to do then, Mordecai, is I want you to make an intelligence religion first, and this one's going to be straight up. The professor's around, but there was, you're talking about some philosophy and things here, but there hasn't been a big revelation that statistically would change this.
Ugh.
All right, so you're having some troubles with this, and
Mega oof.
Ultimately, you're going to speak for your character, but this could come through as, understanding the written content doesn't mean that it has been written onto your heart, or that it has gone from understanding an idea to accepting it as a belief. And so perhaps Mordecai, you're not unintelligent. Maybe there's some resistance right now to really to getting this, or you're hung up or emotional, or how can she, maybe even angry, because sometimes we feel that way, and IRL, I mean, with friends or family members, how can someone who has an education of some variety, or works in a particular industry or whatever, then go on to do, say, or believe something that seems contradictory? And we've all experienced that in life. And so perhaps Mordecai, what a lovely woman Celine is, was, maybe is in your heart. She had these notes, but then to almost make these notes and to go through all the pains of studying and then almost seemingly just let it go for then the boost into a belief system is just it's difficult right now. But there is going to be one more thing. As you are going through this process as well, and as we're nearing the end of your chunk of this week, we resolved your violin being enchanted, and so too then you are baffled by sitting and studying and by looking at notes, and the professor has been helpful, but perhaps as a way to not just read, but you got to be the words, Mordecai. You've been in a circus. You have been, you are. Mordecai's an emotion elemental. Like, we have a physical conglomeration of emotion that just happens to be in a tiefling style shape. And I think in Mage the Ascension, what are those called? There's actually emotion elementals. If anyone out there,
you could call what the World of Darkness specters as such, because they're lingering senses of will and emotion.
Not just specters. It's a really weird. It's not gnosis. I don't think it's a word that is spelled differently than how it's pronounced, and I forget. But they're a specter deflector saying they're me's.
I mean, same.
But yeah, if any of you are Derek, I don't know if you remember offhand from Mage what they're called. They're the sentient emotions, like the little spiritual manifestations of emotion. Do you remember? I know you've dabbled in Mage, I think, but
I think Derek's AFK, by the way.
No, I'm here.
no, he's.
Oh, you are? Oh, I didn't see you say back. Oh, wow.
No.
It's not
see
gnosis.
Oh, okay. No. Okay. So what you're talking about is spiritual. You're talking resonance.
It's
Yeah. You're talking about. I get what you're saying. There's the ghost, the spirit, and then there is the resonance, the after effect, the after image.
Yeah, they're like. Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll continue.
They do have a name.
Yeah, but they're like little emotion elementals, like little ghosts that are just I don't know. It's like sadness, and then it just there you go. It's like a little Pokemon cast form of sadness that floats around, and you can interact with them as a mage. It's not amnesis either. Anyway, nah, not a poltergeist. All right, so we have you have to be as an actor, as a performer. You know that there's a difference between reading the lines and being in character. Anyone can read the lines. I can go up and just in a very monotone just go over this, and it's a Shakespeare play. Everyone knows Shakespeare. It's worldwide famous. Everyone accepts it as a great play. But of course, if I'm not the character, then I'm not. Am I really performing?
Mm-hmm.
So what I would like you to do is to roll a performance at disadvantage in order to try and glean more from what's here. As there are poses, there are quotes, and so you might try putting yourself into these. Okay. That 27 would have been cool. Though
That's a 3 on the die. I have a plus 12.
That's insane. So all right. So Mordecai, you are. This downtime is not yielding an immediate reward, though there's no detriment either for you in regards to this. What I will say is, there's some kind of a basis, just as when you were performing and you were almost getting this. Well, we were just talking about things like resonance. You were going through the motions and you were going through the sketches, And I mean, of course, there's times, and Casimir might have been willing to help you out with this too. I mean, she drew you in a couple different positions. But almost like laid out, like sometimes just as a corpse, sometimes in a particular, kind of just sprawled, or almost like a body, whether it's you or the subject matter, was a corpse. A skeleton, or the bowels were off to the side, or something along those lines. And yet, the way that the things had been conveyed in this book still had an animation. It's still, these were bodies. A couple of them were even you. But they had a life to them. It just seems that the spirit that was put into this book hasn't kindled inside you, Mordecai. And you're welcome to question, does this mean I'm unworthy? Or does this mean I need to try harder, and with the power of friendship, etc. and so forth? This is a roleplay prompt for you. I'm not going to tell you how to carry that forward. But there's not going to be, you get a magic violin. But you do have a basis of you've tried this, and so perhaps the more investment into it, maybe you'll get it at a later point. It's not closed off to you.
Cool.
All right. And now we have... no, it's not wraiths. It's spelled like Minos? Or like MNSES, or I don't know. It was something kind of weird. I remember encountering them in Ascension. I don't know if they'd be in Awakening. Maybe, though. But yeah, they're like kind of... I think they're creatures of the Gauntlet or something like that. Alright, so now we're going to come over to Bright. And Bright had a... no, it's not on that list. I'd know it if I see it, because it's spelled really, really interestingly. It's sort of like how mnemonics is, is not... So, Bright, you had a fun time here, or at least a willing time with Mordecai. You're not left particularly woozy, and especially because Mordecai didn't need as much as perhaps he thought, due to the manifestation of you within him.
Yeah,
and
I'm
now
still
you're
gonna
weak as
need
a-
to eat more peanuts than usual, though.
Yeah, probably so.
And spinach, lots of spinach. Gonna get that iron.
Now you are going to be studying and trying to get a spell from the book that Mordecai had been using, and of course is also trying to pore over. And you would have seen the same sketches and such. And can you remind me once more? I don't have the text up, and I know you sent it to me, but I don't have it in front of me. What was the, or is that a secret? Was that a secret from others?
I don't know. It's not really a secret. I mean, it's to benefit everybody.
Okay.
It's life transference.
Yes. Okay. That's correct. And it was. I thought this felt really like, yeah, this is going someplace. Sure. Now this is going to be an interpretation from what you have seen, and so this would simply be a. This is going to be a two-parter. We're going to have you examine things from a religious point of view, and then see if we can translate them into an arcane context for your understanding. So first up, if you would be so kind as to roll a religion check, and I believe you have a 14. You do have a +1 from Custos because he rolled randomly, and that was on you. So,
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, that would be a great place to use that.
Sure. Okay. And just so everyone knows, I have one, Cypher has one, Mordecai has one, and I have a second one. So I can increase the risk and reward here, should I deem so. All right. So in reading through it, it's certainly not gnomish philosophy, and there's no real benefit or detriment. It is religious text, but perhaps your spirit isn't particularly stirred by the contents as you're going over it, or maybe I don't know. Bright, you are a calligrapher. Maybe is Celine's handwriting a little messy, kind of sloppy? In your opinion?
Well, I mean, I like to have patience with the writing of other people because I know nobody's writing is perfect, of course. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I when I was practicing before, as gnomes we don't have as much writing, I guess. In our religion, it's more about storytelling.
Hmm.
So I mean, we certainly do the writing, but I didn't really grow up transcribing a lot of religious documents and things. It was a lot more, family histories and wedding invitations and things like that. So now when I
More
went
the
to
factual stuff, not the grand stories.
well, yeah, I mean that and like commissions, from people who
Oh, yeah.
who want things done. And then at Wizard School, I did a lot of translating and things like that. But that was just, that was at the Library of Oct, and so we had a lot of stuff. And I tried to specialize more in the, in the arcane stuff because that was just where my interests were really. So
Mm-hmm.
as far as religion goes, I don't know. I mean, I've probably copied a couple of books of religion from time to time, but
Yeah.
it's not really my main focus.
That's that's how you get your lab credits in college. Is they don't pay you, but they'll give you the credits towards getting your education. So
Exactly.
to graduate,
So-
you got to copy these 10 books. Really? Oh yeah, it'll make you better. Just do it.
Yeah. So,
Or
anyway,
or graduate
that's
assistant,
the story.
if not a lab assistant. There we go. All right. So then, Bright, as you're going through this, and we've encountered this, go ahead and make an intelligence-based calligraphy tool check.
I can do that. 20.
Oh, geez. All right. Well, reading it, you have the original appreciation, though perhaps there is a. I'm not saying that you are rewriting anything that's in there, but at least you're able to entertain rewrites or reconcepts in your mind as you are, a calligrapher, a copyist, I guess in your own way, almost like an editor, as well, because when you have precious ink and not a lot of paper, you got to be very careful with your word choices too. And you're able to.
It's especially hard for a gnome because the more fun a word is to say, the harder it is to write.
Yeah, they just kind of go everywhere. Lots of fun little squiggles in them too. Okay, so you're copying out these notes, and now I would like you to make an Arcana check, because it seems that you may have, oh yeah, look at that, a 24.
24.
So it does seem that you have been able, while you've been rearranging this in your mind, into your own notes on your own book, and rewriting things out, maybe just even passively, your brain has this latent organization, and you do find that there is, you look at it and you say, oh, this actually seems to, this might very well work. Now, I'm not going to say it's accidentally going to go off. We're talking about life transference, so you can find a willing target for that. But you do have life transference. And also, you have there's a couple other little notes here that you're able to put together. And this must have been from one of the sketches. But you are also able to cast Chill Touch out of your book.
Oh. Isn't that a cantrip?
Yes.
Okay. No, that's just like a bonus cantrip for me then.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I can do that. That's good to know. That one's in the PHP. I don't even have to make that one myself. I can just drag it. It didn't work though.
It needs a material component though, right? It needs a little bone or something.
Oh.
Or am I wrong on that?
I mean, it might, but I mean, I use my focus. I don't really use components. It's only the components that cost money that you need.
Okay. With this cantrip, when you look at your pearl, right? It's your identification pearl. That's your.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, Chill Touch doesn't have a material component at all. I just looked.
Oh, it doesn't. Oh.
Nope.
Well, when you use it, a vague and unidentifiable face like reflects on the surface of your pearl.
Huh. Unidentifiable.
Yeah. It's.
Can I identify that?
You spend several 11 minutes trying to, but unfortunately, it just seems to be something that manifests when the spell does.
Hey.
And then, so I mean, this was effectively copying a spell through some special means. Took a little extra study to get the formatting into one that is compatible with you. And then there was one other major, because you had your stretch goals, but there's one other major goal that you wanted to accomplish, and that was to try and make a connection with the skeleton and talk and maybe get some information.
Yeah, and also I need to find out more about the known problems.
When you reach Uct, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, we're not there yet. You have sort of like, you have the copy the spell, and you got the one little thing also, and then we're gonna see if you can research and find a way to contact this skeleton, and also, and then glean information. But you might have to custom tailor some of your spells or try some unique applications. And so let's see what we can do here for. All right, let's set up a foundation of you trying to establish contact. You do not have Speak with Dead, but you do have Sending. You also have a spell which maybe you can try and intertwine, as you've used it before, which is Contact Other Plane.
Yeah. I mean, that wasn't going to be my first try because number one, I mean, he's not really the right kind of target. That's for looking for demigods and whatever. Whereas this, I don't know yet who he might. I mean, maybe he is, right? But probably he's just like a guy. I don't know. We'll find out. But the other thing is, Contact Other Plane can make you kind of woo-woo, and I mean, I have enough of that already. So that's not my first choice, unless I need to talk to Shonaroth again, because. But let's keep that to a minimum. I hope he's not
floating in the port is a burnt-out hull of a ship. No survivors. No, but you have that as a spell, as a concept for a delivery method of communicating through, through different means or spaces and times or between entities that may not otherwise be compatible.
It sure does, yeah. It does those things.
Alright. First things first, as you are trying to develop a rapport with the skeleton, for your own sake, hi, Mr. Skeleton, I'm Bright, can answer my questions. I would like you to make some kind of a social interaction roll that you feel is appropriate for making contact with a skeleton. It does recognize you, like when you come up, because it's there to cook food and serve it.
Of course. Well, so I have a few choices. I mean, since he's undead, it's conceivable that I could do this with an arcana, because I know that he's magically animated. But there's also the old standby of persuasion. That's not so bad, right? I mean, anybody you can talk to with persuasion. But, I mean, the only other one that seems like it might possibly make any sense would be religion, because maybe he's... Oh no! I mean, if he's animated, what happened to his normal soul, right? Did he go off somewhere? Is he still trapped in his skeleton body? I don't really know. So, and that seems like it's within the scope of religion. So those are my ideas. What do you think?
I'm fine with any of those. History could even work. He's been around for a while.
It's true.
So I'm happy with any of those. However, I would like it to be charisma based, even if it's normally an intelligence check. But this would be like you coming up to a druid and going, "So, how about that? How about those cumulus nimbus clouds?" You know, you're using the fancy words, but you're trying to do it in a social environment. So I'll let you choose. One of those skills is fine, but we're using charisma as the base for it.
Okay. Hey, baby, you want to see my Stratus? Okay. Well, so I think the approach that I would probably want to take then would probably want to be history.
Okay.
Since it's charisma, though, it's going to be a little less of a bonus. So I'll just roll persuasion because of proficiency in both, and it'll make the same number.
Sure.
But it's really history.
Okay. Okay. So you go up and...
It's not very much history. I guess I haven't really heard of him before.
So, how about that maritime era that we're in? Huh? I hear there's an age of piracy. Maybe the open sea and sailing isn't your strong point. You're able, you're not kicked out of the galley or anything. For even, I don't know, whatever authority that the skeleton even has beyond its realm here in the galley. But it regards you. Pardon me. It regards you, and it's not hostile.
Good.
It indicates for you to point to something that you want to eat. And then there's the two main dishes, and then there's a sign that it points to where custom requests may be considered. And then there's a yes and a no on the sign.
Okay. Well, that's not. Oh, I know what I can do. I'm gonna make a real quick. I'm gonna write up my request, and my request is I would like to make friends, and then I'm gonna put that in the customer request thing, and then I'm gonna point at the yes.
Suggestion box. Let's be friends. Smiley face, but it's all very well written.
Yeah.
Okay, so you drop
Do
that.
you like me? Yes or no?
Yeah, it's almost like passing notes in class. So the initial interaction is it considers your request, and even it seems there's no eyeballs, but it does seem to be able to read your request, and it points to no. But hey, it's a success and a failure. You're learning about the skeleton, and it does seem to hear and see. It can have limited, I guess, reactions or actions to people who exist here. Kind of weird. There's no muscles as per a skeleton or anything. You can see into its skull, so there's no brain. But
it's okay.
It made a decision.
So I guess I'll use prestidigitation to make a little shower of sparks, and then minor illusion to make the sad trombone sound.
Okay. So a different approach may be necessary in this instance, and so we can look at ways to send, or in order, if not send, then to contact, or find kind of a medium between the two. to find a medium between the two here, and see if there's a way that just.
I think my next step would be to talk to the captain.
Oh. Okay.
In,
Captain is not always available, but he's not unavailable.
yeah, and I mean we're pretty fancy, so maybe I could at least have a minute to talk to him. I don't know.
Yeah, he's social. He goes and, he's not above visiting the people who are writing in steerage. He'll go through and, ask, make sure people are okay. Or, he's a hands-on captain. He still carries himself with, I have important things to do aboard the ship when he's on duty. But he does make his way throughout the people on the trip. So yeah, if you wanted to pull him aside, you can easily do so as you catch him on the deck or making the round.
Yeah, well, that's what I want to do.
Okay.
And then I just want to ask him, Captain Wilwick, what's the story with your skeleton cook, man?
Honestly, ma'am?
But you don't have to call me ma'am. You can just call me Bright.
Honestly,
Oh.
Bright?
Thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am. Bright. He came with the ship. Been here longer than I have. And that's when I started scrubbing decks aboard this ship when I was young. Been here for every captain, going back to the founding, to the first people who landed on Mesomaska. Went forward, started a whole movement to, build the Mesotopia you know today. Great
Okay.
era of exploration it was. Oh,
Right.
to be alive in those times. I guess he was. Huh.
Well, maybe, or maybe he was undead then. I don't know, right? I mean, was he the original cook when the ship was built?
That's the
Don't you-
rumor.
I mean, you have to know something, right? I mean, the story would have been passed down. How did he die? Why is he still here?
The story is that he's always been a part of the ship. I don't know more than that. I'm sorry. If I could write a book on the subject, I would. I think it would be fascinating for a lot of people. He's a bit of a mystery, and we've inherited it. But he makes a mean sea biscuit. Doesn't hurt anyone, and it gets a little extra business as well because people want to come and some just want to talk to the skeleton. Though he doesn't do a lot of talking back. Has a bit of a
I've
short
noticed that.
temper.
Oh, does he?
Well, from what I leave him alone. I say please and thank you when he serves me, but I've never really interacted with him anywhere beyond that because it seems to be known. He's just there.
Okay, well, thank you for the information. I'm gonna keep trying. I think he could be important.
Yeah, well, if you learn something, ma'am, Bright, then I would love to know as well. I'll say this though, from all the histories that from captain to captain as has been passed down, there has always been the exception that as a crew member, he is the only crew member that is not expected to salute when the captain is on deck or is walking past. And you would know that other sailors, when the captain passes, would do a respectful. This isn't a military vessel, but the Lellywellen's Gamble does have this. It seems to be a tradition that the sailors do salute, even though that doesn't always happen, or it's not necessarily expected to happen aboard, civic vessels. But the skeleton is never expected to or demanded to.
So let me ask you something else while you're here. Who was Lellywellen?
Oh, well, there's I guess a little bit of talk about that. A couple different theories. Could have been the name of, some people say it was the daughter, some people say it was the wife of the original captain. It's, of all things, it's a corruption, from my understanding, of the Shadahari common tongue. Of course, it wouldn't be pronounced Lellywellen up there.
That would be like, well.
Yes, Lellywellen.
That's fun.
And,
Okay, I'm done. Go on.
though, unfortunately, I'm not an expert in the Shadowhar Empire. I simply seem to have become captain of some small vine way off the branch of it at some point in history during the colonization.
Okay, well that's good to know. I really appreciate the help. I'm going to keep trying. Thank you.
If you look around, if you know anything about the Empire, and I've had more people actually point this out because of the influx of culture and goods, you could see a lot of very subtle historical references back to the Shadowhar. Now, there's been modifications made over the hundreds of years, but well, it's fun to find little things here and there. And he actually looks around. Oh! Let me show you. Here. And he'll take you over towards something like one of these big rivets that's in the hull. You know, they don't make them like this anymore. Like the hinges on the doors, especially in the nicer suites, have, you know, designs so that when they close, it's sort of like interlocking. And over here, you can see there's you can see that there's a kind of an interesting design. I've never really been able to make out what it says. And if you would like to roll a perception at advantage, you can do so.
You're actually going to make me roll perception?
Yeah, I am.
That's so sad. Okay. 19. Wow.
Hey.
Okay. That's the best perception I've ever had.
Episode 78, everyone.
You're not blind.
Perception better than 5. First time. 78 sessions in.
You so maybe you know, maybe it's a little bit. You had calligraphy on the mind, maybe from studying the book. You know, it looks like an old kind of rivet head, and there's an engraving, and so I don't know. You look around, or you have like a little bit of ink or something. You kind of like smear it on, and it fills in the engraving in the metal that was maybe only partially or a little rusty or a little grimy. And what you see is an engraving that looks like this, and that is in the bolts of the ship, and it has written in some language something on the inside of this snake ? With the symbol in the center of it. It's in a language that, well, wait, you don't understand?
Oh, of course I understand it.
She understands all written language.
Oh, shoot, you have greater comprehension. That's right. All right. So, and by that I clearly mean your eyes focus a little bit, and then you understand.
I had to blink.
Yeah.
It does take an action for me to use that. So.
Oh, okay. You have so instead of nictating membranes, you have like just like an auto translate screen that goes over your eyes or something. That's kind of cool and also gross to think about. Like you just have these second set of eyelids that just. Oh, greater comprehension. Yeah, I forgot. All right, so it says all things with time.
Oh, okay. All things with time. I see. Okay. Can I ask if the captain's still here? Can I ask him if there are any wizards on board?
Not that he is aware of. There's not like a ship wizard. Though he asked if you need a doctor, there's a ship doctor who's knowledgeable in things.
I don't really think I'm sick. I just want someone I can talk to about magical things.
Let me see. He gets around and is generally tries to be aware of things. There might be someone. He thinks he remembers someone Someone who might be able to help you, yeah. Seems like someone who might be versed in the arts of magic, and tiefling fellow. Blue, about 6 feet tall. I think he has a kid on board, though.
Yeah, he's not 6 feet tall anymore. That's... I mean, that probably doesn't make sense, but it will. So, okay, well, thanks, you've been very helpful.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, I mean, whether you find him or his son, I'm sure you'll be able to get some information. Seemed like a very charismatic lad. Knew a thing or two about this and that. So I could recommend you to him. There could be even someone else up in the first class areas. If we're talking about where to go aboard the ship to find what you're looking for, only it's not that wizards don't ride in steerage. Some of them do, especially on a bit of a student budget. So there could be some wizard students around here, but depending on the level of information you're seeking, you might want to stick to the upper decks and the back cabins, the more prime areas.
A student probably wouldn't be what I need. Okay, well, thanks very much. Sure do appreciate it.
And so you have some clues. You've built some resources. There's you still wish to communicate with the skeleton, correct?
Do, yeah.
Okay.
I have more ideas, but I mean, we also need to get to Garrick at some point.
Yeah, you have the ideas in the minutia.
Take your time. Take your time. It's all good. Don't rush.
We can use these ideas and what you have in mind in order to see if there's a way you can, if you want to create a magical communication bridge. If you don't want to do that, we can do something else. But that's what I thought you might be building towards.
Well, I'm really just trying to see what my options are, right? I mean, because the obvious choice kind of fell through, and I have other ideas, but we have to kind of work through them. So I just, yeah.
Okay. Well, then even what we could do is you've done this research. You might be able to glean something, but you are still going to be aboard the ship even after Uct, even if you depart Uct down here, because from what I remember, your plan, at least with the professor, was to continue to sail north past the crater, and this is going to be, it's going to be more than a week, so you'll have even more time aboard the ship that you can continue to try and, break through or communicate, if you wish.
Yeah, I mean, there's no hurry. No hurry.
Okay, so sure. You learn about a little bit about things, and you see now that it's sort of shown to you that there's little like engravings and stylistic marks. You can see them all throughout the Lellywellen's Gamble. There's been no particular preservation method. So, for example, as bolts have needed to be replaced, you're not finding this on every bolt. But that's I guess that's the old lucky bolt that's been around forever. Just it hasn't corroded, or it's always had a grease on it or something. But you're still seeing the original wood or the metal work or some old things. You are getting this influence as you've had exposure to the Shadowheart, and you've seen colorations and patterns and whatnot.
Yeah. So I want to talk to Mordecai for a real quick minute here.
Okay. Yeah.
So Mordecai, I want to show you this bolt here. See this bolt?
Uh-huh.
And I'm showing him just a plain old bolt first. I'm gonna say, do you see the insignia on this bolt?
You're pointing out a plain one?
Well, wait.
Yes.
Are you making an illusion? Like the bolt was in the wood, holding the
I know.
stuff together.
I'm just showing him a different bolt first.
Oh, okay.
That one's plain.
Oh, it's got an insignia on it. You can't see it?
Are you actually showing him one that has a insignia on it, or are you poking with him?
Yeah, you figured it out. Okay.
Plain, right?
Well, I mean, aren't you supposed to be the one with the good eyes here? I guess you weren't able to see that one. Let me show you this other one. Maybe it'll be easier for you to see it.
Okay.
See this insignia on this bolt here? This is a real one.
I could see that one.
Okay,
Well,
that's good.
interesting.
That's good. So when you were on that Shadowhar ship, did you see any insignia like this on it?
Thinking back, do I remember something like that?
You weren't looking for it, and if it's something on a bolt, I mean, like, you were kind of scraping together, but the circumstances were such that, I mean, they could have been scratches. They weren't really anything that you would have paid attention to, given the Aslandian circumstances. So,
Even given my 25 passive perception?
I was thinking since you were like the ship's engineer, right? So you would have
Kinda, yeah.
had the closest. You might have bumped
Close
into it.
interactions, but yeah. On the Repentless, of course. I did a lot of monkeying around with the bolts and shit.
you did. Let's go ahead, and you do have a high passive. Again, the circumstances are what they were. That, I mean, appreciating some engravings in a bolt or elsewhere may not have been the highest priority when you were being haunted by Jade, and every day was life or death, and
There was also like a month where nothing happened.
Well,
Ish.
well, remember, the Repentless was different than the airship that you went on. The Repentless
It
was different.
Built out of the ship that we stole.
Right. The initial ship may have had this, but the Repentless was
Made out of the same thing. You're kind of monkeying around here, Matty.
Do you remember how the ship was made? I clearly do.
It was a Shadowheart ship, and
It was, yeah, the past tense is correct.
and then had a lot of monkeying around by Shunruth.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Gotcha.
But it would still have original base. I remember that.
Well, I mean, after the Repentless was effectively born, it was based on the ship, but it was not the same ship.
Semantics.
What?
If you want me to roll a history check from memory, then I can do that.
No, it wouldn't be history. Just go ahead and roll a straight up intelligence. However, you do have Bright's blood in you, and so I'll let you roll a straight up intelligence at advantage.
All right. 17.
17. Yeah, it seems there was kind of a motif that you remember seeing. It wasn't like everywhere, but it was, it wasn't like stamped on everything, but it seemed to it seems to be a familiar shape or a symbol to you, yeah. You think you saw it maybe on maybe it was on the 17. It was on the doorknob to the commander's chamber. Is one place. Like, you remember, like, you reach for it and like, oh, that's kind of a cool, and like, maybe it's like a spiral or just a cool engraving, and you look, oh, well, that's a kind of a weird stylistic choice, but sure, it's on a door handle.
Yeah, I'd paid it no mind before, but
Yeah.
What about
it? Well, I mean, this is a Shadowheart built ship, and so I don't know what that means, but I mean, all the legends say it's been here since Mezamaska was first settled, and it was one of the first ships that carried the settlers from where it is apparently now the Shadowheart Empire. And you see the writing? I don't know if you can read it or not, but I can because I have the whammy, and it says all things in time, and wow. Okay. That was really weirding me out there for a minute. So I think what I'm starting to think is that, I mean, they might have been planning this the whole time. The people who came here as settlers, like, maybe I don't know. I mean, it's been a long time. They might have diverged, and now they're just coming back to, like, reclaim it.
Well, the lore of it is that the settlers from But now the Shadowheart came here because they were fleeing from that area, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And
Interesting.
so maybe trying to escape it?
I don't know.
I'm not positive on that. But All Things in Time speaks of patience being a virtue of some kind.
Of course. Well, and
And
I
if
mean,
you're patient, then things tend to work out. At least that's what I would assume from it.
well, I feel the
And
same
with-
way.
And with long-lived creatures, patience tends to
Ooh, pardon.
be something that naturally comes.
Uh,
The
and
shorter lived of
depending
us are not nearly as patient.
you're not really shorter lived anymore, and neither are a lot of the Shadowheart. So this may have been, I don't know, maybe they've had the vampire problem for thousands of years, and now maybe the people who came to Mazamaska were the ones who wanted to get away. I don't know.
And now the Shadowheart wants to take it back.
Could be.
Take them back. Take everyone who's descended from Shadowheart back, maybe?
Be. Hey, well, how about that?
I don't want to be Shadowheart. I'm Mesomascan. And they seem to revere vampires a lot. As long-lived creatures.
Are you prepared to use that when you need to?
Meaning what? Exactly.
And take advantage of the trust that they'll place in you?
When they doted on us when Celine and I were with them. Essentially treating us like honored captives?
Mm-hmm. They were giving you deference, and you were an honored person.
But it wasn't like they would let me go anywhere I wanted. If I told them that I wanted to go back, I told them I wanted to go back to Mesomasca, and they were.
Yeah, it's.
But I'm saying that to Bright.
Yeah, in I guess how we would read history or fiction, where in a war, one noble house would, it wouldn't kidnap or ransom another noble's son that was on the battlefield. They would, the son would be an invited, I don't know, they'd use some fancy term for it. But the implication was pretty much, the other family, like, we're keeping you alive until your family pays us money to get you back. So you're not going anywhere. We're going to pretend, oh yeah, you can stroll around the gardens, but, if you leave the castle walls, then we're going to shoot you on sight. So that was a heavy implication, and the nobles would have been taught, okay, yeah, don't go past the, play by the rules, don't make a fuss, don't call it kidnapping, just, we'll get you out kind of a thing. So yeah, they were treating you like a guest, but it was, you're what is it, in Shawshank, you get the one room Hilton, you're still in jail. It just so happens you don't have a roommate. But you also can't, you're in jail. So.
I don't know. I think you could talk your way out of that. Like, tell them that you can convince people of things. You could tell them that you want to claim your birthright or whatever you would say. I don't know.
What would I do with that?
Get inside them.
And do what? Tear them down from the inside?
Maybe just be a spy. I don't know.
I don't want to do that alone.
Well, maybe Casimir would go with you.
He's kind of been tailing me a little too closely lately.
You turn around, Casimir's right there. He's been listening the whole time.
It's a silhouette that manifests with shining eyes.
Okay. Well, just a thought.
I just don't know what to do about it. It's not like they're being invasive or threatening or killing people.
I know. But the thing with vampires is they can't really help it. I mean, I don't care if they come through and set up businesses. That doesn't matter to me at all. But vampires are still going to eat people sometimes. I care about that. Okay.
It's gonna be hard to do it without Celine.
Yeah. Oh.
But she did tell me that there's still more to do.
I think we all know that.
Did I not tell you? I saw a vision.
I don't think you did.
I slipped my mind.
Oh, it's been a tough
there.
couple of weeks.
Ossuary.
Air.
Like I was speaking to her through that ritual that they had me do. And
Oh,
she
yeah.
was there. Like, actually there. And maybe I'm just seeing things. She told me to give the Sunblade to Jaiden, and then she told me to really look into the book, and now...
We were going to do those things anyway.
Well, yeah. I swear. There are times when I read that book and I think I see things moving. I start to wonder if she's there.
Oh, okay. So that's new. I mean, I've looked at it a couple of times, and I mean, it's a nice book and it has a lot of good information in it, and I can tell that she really cared about it, but the letters pretty much stay on the page when I look at it. And I have some fancy ink that doesn't work that way. If you want, I could put some writing in it, but normally it just pretty much looks like words to me.
Am I going crazy?
I don't know. I mean, you've seen things like this before. Just be part of the overall experience of being you. I mean, I see weird things too, and I'm learning to get use out of that, but maybe you are in the same position.
I don't want this to be like what Shona Ruth was fiddling with in my head, trying to get me to just chop people to pieces. To build a ship?
Yeah. There's.
Sure it was Jade, but maybe it was Shona Ruth. I don't know. I feel like
I don't
I'm
know
going
that there's
mad.
really any difference. I mean, there's obviously a difference, but there was so much of Shona Ruth and Jade. Almost. Well, it's kind of like, so, well, I don't really want to talk about that, but it's like, sometimes I can tell people what to do and they have to do it. For Shona Ruth, it's probably like that, except it's all the time. There's just so much of him there that, it just always came through. And it's probably what you're seeing.
You haven't messed with my brain anymore.
No, I
That
wouldn't.
One time, have you?
I wouldn't do that to you in any way except if you wanted me to. I only wanted you to see special things about Celine and get to know her better, but I wouldn't do that to you.
Okay.
It's hard for me to know when I should do it, but I definitely wouldn't do it to you unless you wanted me to.
Because there was a minute there that I was really questioning what was going on in my head.
I don't blame you. I mean, I don't know how the Ouija rituals work. I mean, they've got powerful death magic, so maybe they could, maybe they could bring her back just for a minute. Maybe that's how it's supposed to work in their rituals.
They seemed about as baffled as I was. So, I don't know. Maybe it was just me. Maybe I was just seeing things.
I don't know. I mean, if they were surprised too, then that means it wasn't just you, though. It means they could see her as well. So something must have happened. Maybe Celine had a power, or maybe Weejas herself. Excuse me. I'm not very religious. Maybe Weejas herself intervened to make that happen. In that case, you don't have to worry about being crazy. You just have to worry about the fact that the god of death has taken a special interest in you. I'd probably rather be crazy.
Somebody's got to do it, right? If Celine's not here to do it, somebody's gotta.
So...
Well, I'm crazy. What else is new?
It's the new normal.
No. I don't see it that way. I think it's just some extra special magic. But the next time you see the words on the book moving around, come show it to me, and we'll see if I can figure it out with you.
Okay. Yeah. I don't want to be crazy.
Then what we can do is bring things together here with this segment of downtime ending as apparently on a beautiful summer night. You're pulling into a port in Uct.
Oh, before we get to Uct,
Mm-hmm.
I want to have one more thing to do with the skeleton. Do we have, how many more days are there?
Like a day or two, I guess we could say.
Okay, so the next time I go in for a meal,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say, so, Mr. Skeleton, let's see, what am I going to say? Mr. Skeleton, when it's time for mealtime, do you say bon appetit?
Oh, you're trying to catch Tasha's. Oh, I love it.
Wait, what?
The chat
Really
will
cool.
never
The-
know.
The
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I have a shirt that says that.
That's delightful. I need one.
I'll tell you what. I will see if I can give you a result. We'll leave the application of your uncontrollable, horrible, terrible, no good, very bad, hideous laughter for when we resume and you're pulling conceptually into an Ucton port here shortly before you get too close to the crater. And so I got to get up and take a little break, and then we'll come in and follow what Jaiden is doing in Mask of Horns. But we'll resolve that first because I want to look up, I guess, something, because it's not a skeleton that's like a CR 1/8 or whatever they are. But anyway, I'm willing to entertain it. So yes. Anyway, let's get up and take a break. About 10 minutes, I'd say, to get a snack and a drink, give you plenty of time to stretch, do what you got to do, and then we'll come back and continue. So for all of you out there in chat, thank you for following along, and we'll see you soon.